I spent most of my youth being brainlessly righteous and virtuous. I thought that if I could maximize my righteousness stat, if I could become the ultimate good, the perfect guy, then I could reap the most benefits from life. And that is what would make me the most attractive, since people seem to admire that so much. And I didn't understand all the intricacies and the complications between relationships. I simply reasoned with it as the better man becomes the most attractive. And I was quickly proven wrong. I saw all these little discrepancies. I saw all these little events where a guy would be an asshole and a girl would be attracted to them, drawing so much attention and being so popular and respected. It's just like, what the fuck? My monkey brain couldn't accept that. I took pride in heroism, being the most considerate and kind man in the room, the most thoughtful. I upheld selflessness as like the most important virtue, and villainized most acts that involve self-investment. When I would try to dress well or clean my face or put on accessories, my dad would shame me for it because he would say that's fucking gay. You know, it's superficial to keep caring about your looks, to try to dress well. So as a young child, I looked like an absolute autist. Like, I was one of those stereotypical Asians who dressed like a retard with thick ass glasses. And to add on to that, I was morbidly obese and incredibly unappealing to look at. I walk around like a wobbly gremlin, you know. I'm like a pest. As I got older, I developed this sense of purpose to be one of the only good guys left, being good and nice despite how difficult it would seem to be. I thought that if I held on to that would be the thing that makes me the most attractive, the better man. But slowly I was beginning to doubt the intention behind why I want to be good, right? What purpose does it serve me? Is it to pay tribute to my parents? To relieve the suffering for others in a cruel world? Mostly I thought that my desires were fully authentic. Over time I slowly realized that there were intentions behind all of them. I wanted to be respected and admired. I didn't know how to. That was the only way, to be the nicest guy, the most selfless, let people walk all over me. I understood so many different virtues to such a shallow level just to prove how righteous and good I am in order to be attractive, which is obviously a bad move. And as I got even older from this, I quickly realized the time and capacity I've sacrificed, the amount of opportunity I've given away for putting myself out there, being selfless, letting people have what they want, and kind of appearing harmless so I don't offend anybody. As long as I'm the least hindrance, I'll be the most admired. And the magnitude of wasted self-investment hit me. I was far behind others in many aspects, like socially. The way I think was so underdeveloped. I had no critical thinking. The way I speak was absolute dog shit. My general competence in life was terrible. I realized how little steps I've moved in life because of this crippling addiction and need to appear good. And I realized how many people left me because of my incompetence, lack of social intelligence, and how low status I was. So then for a time, I focused on investing in myself, because now I realized that competence is incredibly important, and how investing in myself is how I can bring actual good to people. Because as my competence goes up, my resourcefulness goes up, my social skills goes up, my status goes up, and from there I can bring social proof to other people. I can bring real help to other people with my resourcefulness, with the things I know. And at that time, the goal was still, in some way, always leads back to trying to be admired, trying to look good. A few months ago, through reading the 48 Laws of Power, everything just lost its meaning. I realized everything is a power play. Even being entirely honest and virtuous in of itself is a power play. No matter how people would choose to shame those people who lie and manipulate to get what they want, those honest and virtuous people are doing the exact same thing. They're pushing their righteousness out there to gain admiration. What real good is there if everything is done with some intention that benefits themselves? There is no true, selfless, authentic act of good. Everything is self-serving. And at the highest form of good, the best intention someone could have is to fulfill their self-identity. And then I believe that's where the genuine good actions come from, when we are conditioned to have an identity that makes us do these kinds of things because it brings us fulfillment. That is true good. And this almost feels like people are being tamed to be useful to other people. People only praise others for acts that make them useful so that they can milk the shit out of one another. Society uses autistic phrases like, only real men do this. True kindness is this. True masculinity is this. They like to put true or real to some sort of concept and then shame you for going the other direction of what they define as real or true. Right, you see this all the time in comments and shit. You're only really kind if you do this. You're only this if you do this. This is what a real man looks like. This is what a real woman behaves like. Now that is a real woman. All these autistic phrases, right? People shaming you to be something, to be useful to the general scope, so that you can be milked of all your good and serve others, so that others can live in a world where other people serve them. You're listening to what I'm saying, right? All these power plays, doesn't it make you kind of angry? Everything sounds like a ploy to condition each other to serve one another. Everything is some disgusting power play. And watching this unfold at that time absolutely pains me. Like, what is there to protect? For a while, I lost my gratitude and love for people. I once could walk along a busy street or take a walk outside, right? See elderly keeping up a smile despite their old age, despite their wearied body. Naive children playing in the playgrounds. Affectionate parents taking care of their children. A group of friends being hella noisy and disturbing each other. Like, that brought me happiness. That brought me gratitude. That was beautiful. That was lovely. And for a while, I found humanity disgusting. For a while, I became someone entirely free from the shackles of social expectation because I was angry. I was no longer gonna let their stupid definitions of good and bad define what I do. But I had no moral compass either, so I didn't know what I was gonna do. Because what's the point of being moral in a world filled with power plays, filled with people with no actual love? And that turns you into a monster. There's nothing more dangerous than a competent man who is unshackled by the chains of social expectation, who is unafraid of rejection and disappointment, because you can't control that guy that way. And I didn't know where to go from there. The only real love I could see in the world was from my mother, my father, my sister, and my extended relatives. Because the intention that love was built on was pure, was unconditional, was biological and kind of real. Like, it stemmed from the past. It is something that really exists. It's robust. And I know that their intentions are pure. It's not to gain admiration for themselves that they love me, but it's literally because I'm their son, their brother, their blood relative, right? They feel spiritually bonded with me. So to me, that intention was pure, and I could accept that love, and I could be grateful for that. And I think that that is the only thing that held me back from becoming a monster. So I'm really, really grateful for having a wonderful family behind me. And some people don't have that, I wonder what happens to someone who falls into a nihilistic trap and really have no one that they can count on as genuine and pure love. I imagine that is fucking miserable and terrifying. And while in this nihilistic spiral, sometimes I couldn't help but think, if she had just given me a chance, if I maybe just looked attractive at a young age, if I was raised better, if I had a better environment growing up, maybe I wouldn't have to think so much. Maybe I could have navigated life without such seemingly pointless deep thinking and self-evaluation, and it would be easier. Maybe I could live with a lighter weight on my shoulders. Why do I always have to fight so hard for opportunities others were just given at a young age? Why me? It's not fair. However, magnificent things aren't built by one person. Interdependency between a large group of people is what brings about significant and meaningful change in the world. For greatest fulfillment and meaning, we should surrender to the cosmic guide of interdependency. Let ourselves be a little naive and find love. Let us have faith in something greater than ourselves, because otherwise we will be taking on the whole world in solitary. And we are not above this, right? We are human too. We are bound by our capacity and our willingness to love, to trust, to be affected by rejection, to fear solitude, to fear death. Do not be afraid to care about what other people think. Lose your love for the world and you lose your purpose in living. No one is more exhausted than the person who, because they lack a moral code, have the hardest time in making the littlest decisions, because they have to confront the entire world in every second alone. The definition of good itself stems from the words beneficial, effective. It is clearly a word to keep people useful for time. And looking at that, it almost seems like nobody cares about the individual, but only what they provide. Almost like people are coaxing you and domesticating you to be the perfect donkey, the perfect pet, to be milked infinitely, squeezed by the tits, and my ego actively defends against that. How dare you condition me to be your fucking donkey and take so much from me and tell me that it's important to be selfless and give myself away without me making that decision myself. I hated that conditioning. And I imagine so many people have given up so much time to invest in themselves to chase opportunity because of this autistic social conditioning, because of what we were told to be. Without love, we will tend to despise the notion of interdependency. Why serve others when they have done fuck all for me? We're going to question how superficial things are. Why everybody is concerned but nobody really cares. So why choose to be good? Why choose to love? Why fight for others? Why help? Why hold on to humanity? Because there is no better way to live. Because the alternative is a lonely death, miserable time alive, pointless pondering. Surrender yourself to the least intelligent, most out of control, most beautiful thing in the whole wide world. Love. Let's learn to love again, but this time through a lens of tedious self-evaluation. There is nothing worse than the alternative, because the alternative requires us to throw our lives away. Everyone we've ever loved, anything we ever wanted ceases to exist. Memories lose their magic and beauty. The world loses its color. To love again willingly, we must dedicate ourselves to serving something cosmic. This can be a religion or just a humongous purpose strong enough to force us to cultivate a moral code of which we can follow strictly and build a wonderful story. You are not above living. You are simply human too, and there's plenty to love. Surrender yourself to the beauty. And while so much virtuous and righteous acts of good are conditioned into people, perhaps built by trauma, perhaps built by some fear that they'll be rejected, while everything may not have the perfect intentions and connotations behind it, there is still a lot of beauty, and there's still a lot of wonderful perceptions from different people that we do not understand. People all understand the world in different ways, and while it may seem like all good is fake, nothing real ever comes to you. You don't get what they have. I think that the knowledge that we would never truly understand the intentions and the perceptions behind what other people do is what will let us hold on to the faith that it could all be genuine anyway, no matter how much nonsense we've thought about. The faith that there is actual good out there. We have to hold on to it. We can't naively completely discard the notion of that because of how we have reasoned with things and how we have observed things through our own lens. That is stupid. Consider the things we don't know. Surrender ourselves to humanity. Love again. Trust again. Otherwise, you're not going to live a life worth living twice. This philosopher Nietzsche, my friend introduced me to this, states that live a life that you would want to live again and again for eternity. Good luck. I love you. To better world. I miss doing that. I haven't done that in a while. Jeez. I miss doing that. See you.